Welcome to Climate Curious Quickies, bite-sized nuggets of climate goodness from our TEDx experts in under 10 minutes.
In this week's Climate Curious, we're headed to the cryosphere to ask the simple question, what is a glacier? Helping us unpick the complex systems behind our world's ice, we have glaciologist and legit National Geographic explorer, M. Jackson. She shares her beautiful perspective on contrasting the lone vulnerable snowflake with the dense and mighty glacier, and how they are one in the same, much like one person is to a community coming together hand in hand. And how, in the spirit of coming together, we can regrow the glaciers we're losing to climate change. On the titanic impact of glaciers and why they're crucial to protect, here's M. Jackson, recorded live at TED 2026 with Maryam Pasha. Stay curious.
I want to start at the very, very, very beginning. What is a glacier?
Okay. What do you think a glacier is?
Okay, a glacier for me, I drove through the Rockies when I was a kid. So I saw in the Canadian Rockies, and I saw just a big, massive sheet of ice, like almost like what you would see at the top of a mountain, but it wasn't at a mountaintop.
Yeah.
And I remember people were trying to walk on it.
100%. So we're there.
That's what I've got for you.
No, I love that. So you saw something big and white.
Yes.
And it could have been ice or it could have been snow, but it was all part of what we call the cryosphere. Think cryo, think ice, cold, freezing, all of that. Glaciers are a component of that. So we say glaciers are these moving rivers of land ice that persist year after year, made from snow, and they got to move. They got to flow. Oh. Yeah, I love that. Okay, so that's our definition.
Okay.
But in there's all this complexity. Because if you think about it, the majority of our world population, which is a fancy academic way of saying you, me, your mom, the people we talk to all over the world, the majority of our world's population, they live in a landscape that has been impacted, created by glaciers, by ice, by our cryosphere. So think about this. It could be the landscape they live in. So mountainous landscape that is shaped by ice. It could be a place they live in that is fed by ice. Think here are big rivers that are coming down and feeding crops. Or it could be a place that their weather is impacted by the glaciers that might be countries away, kilometers away, miles away. Most of the people on the planet live in a place that is impacted by glaciers. But here's what I want you to think about, okay? Because you asked, what's a glacier? And I gave you the fancy academic definition. But do you really know what a glacier is made of?
I mean, for me, I just assume it's made of ice, but I think that's
But how did we get to the ice? Glaciers are made from snowflakes. And here's what I want you to think about. Snowflakes, you've seen single one snowflake. It's the most fragile, the most vulnerable, the most alone thing on the planet. When it falls through the sky and lands in your hand,
it's gone.
It could be gone. But a glacier is full of one single snowflake that fell to the ground, reached out, and held hands with the next snowflake and the next snowflake and the next snowflake, the millions and billions and trillions of snowflakes that are literally holding branches so tightly, they have become, through this community of snowflakes, the most powerful force on this planet. A community of the most vulnerable, most alone things are standing together, and they are shaping the landscapes and lives and futures of almost every person on this planet.
I want to ask you how you came to that understanding.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about you, because the way you talk about this is very beautiful. And I want to understand, like, how did you come to work on this? And just tell us a bit more about you.
Okay, so Maryam, I grew up Alaska and in Washington State. I'd never met a scientist, let alone a female scientist, right? I didn't think science was an option for me. And I did a lot of backcountry guiding and search and rescue, and I ended up with all these questions of the ice systems I'm guiding on. Right. It didn't occur to me for a really long time that I could answer those questions.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so right when I started my career, right when I was like very beginning, learning to be a scientist, learning to measure, monitor, predict things, learning the language of science. I write about this a lot in my very first book, The Secret Lives of Glaciers. I write a lot about this in my very first book, While Glaciers Slept. I have 4 books. I'm working on another one. They all get confused sometimes. Right when I was learning to be a scientist, my family died. And what I realized is that the language we use for environmental change, for landscape change, it is the same language we use for family change, for our lives. Okay. And as scientists, I can exclude you immediately by telling you how I measure and monitor all the numbers on bread, milk, yogurt, and vat yogurt, and all these ice systems I work on. I can exclude you by using very specialized language. Yes. Or I can invite you in by using the same language that you and I are going to use over a coffee when you tell me this new thing, this new drama in your family or in your life or in work. That language, it tells us the same processes. And I think that as scientists, we need to learn and use the language that everybody accesses and can understand and move with.
I mean, that insight itself, I guess some of it must come from the fact that you didn't feel like this was something you could do.
Yeah.
And that it felt like inaccessible to you, or it was made to feel inaccessible to you, and you don't want to do that in your own work.
I still find it rather shocking that I have a PhD and a postdoc and all these books. Yeah. I remember in 2017, I was named an explorer to the National Geographic Society, and I walked into the National Geographic headquarters on M Street in Washington, D.C., and I walked in and knew instantly I did not belong. I was around some of the world's smartest people. Yeah. But there was another scientist, Paula Kahumbu. She saw me. She walked up to me. She said, "Tell me about your work. I'm so glad you're here." Oh, it is other people choosing to invite us in. Yeah. And it's our responsibility then to do that to others, whether they're in science. I could talk to other scientists all day long. I mean, we could. Yeah. But my job is actually to speak to everybody else who is thinking about science, who is science questions, science inquisitive.
And I mean, you mentioned earlier about how, all the different ways that glaciers impact people's lives. Can you tell us a bit about your research and your work and what are the things that you have discovered? What should we, if we're new to thinking about this, what are some essential things we need to know?
The most important thing that my work wants us to know about glaciers is that we are experiencing today significant and unnatural mass loss. Yeah. We are losing our world's ice. Yeah. And that's going to have impacts on you and me and everyone on the planet. Yes. But we also have a single story that we are losing our world's glaciers, full stop. Okay. My dream, my metric as a scientist is that when I walk into a room one of these days, someone doesn't tell me the joke, "Oh, you study ice. Pretty soon you're going to be a historian." Oh, I hate that joke, right? And I fake laugh at it all the time because I'm like, it's new. Yeah. People are thoughtful when it comes to meeting lady scientists. Yeah. But I want people to realize that we are not in the last chapter of our world's ice. Our glaciers have the ability to grow back. Our glaciers have the ability to have a thriving system that they live within and live in balance with us. But the only way that happens, there are days, I'll tell you what, I wish I had focused on save an animal or save a species of tree. Yeah. Because
what do we call it? Charismatic megafauna.
Yeah, if I'd gone into save the whales, that would have been amazing because then I can say we have 5 more whales this year. We have 5 more of this. The only way we get ahead of ourselves and start slowing glacier change and then allowing our glaciers to respond over time and grow back is a group effort. It's going to be a community effort.
Thanks for listening to this quickie.
This episode was created by our superstar podcast team at TEDxLondon. Until next time,
stay curious.